You feel it deep inside, the pull and the push, the ache and the whisper. You're exhausted from the weight of invisible battles. Yet somewhere beneath the fatigue, something sacred still flickers. You tell yourself you're not enough, not ready, not strong, but destiny doesn't wait for perfect strength. You stand between two voices, one that says give up, and another that says get up. The contradiction inside you is the evidence that heaven is still at work. You have been walking through days that blur into nights, where sleep doesn't silence the noise in your soul. You wonder if God has forgotten you. But listen, chosen one. If you were forgotten, you wouldn't feel this pull. Destiny doesn't call the indifferent, it calls the weary, the trembling, the ones who still have something sacred burning beneath the ashes. That's why you feel torn. You're standing on the line between who you were and who you are becoming. You see, God doesn't choose the already mighty. He calls the ones who still doubt their worth. He whispers to the ones who cry in silence, the ones who think they've failed too much to be redeemed. You say, "Why me?" and heaven answers, because you were never meant to disappear. You were never meant to blend in. Your weakness has not disqualified you, it has made you the perfect vessel for grace. There is a reason you feel the tension between exhaustion and purpose. Heaven often wraps its calling in contradiction. You can be broken and still chosen. You can feel small and still carry the weight of eternity in your chest. You can be trembling and still anointed. The paradox doesn't cancel your destiny, it confirms it. Think about it, every prophet, every vessel, every chosen soul walked through this same collision between calling and weakness. Moses stuttered, Gideon doubted, David wept, Elijah ran, Peter denied, and yet heaven still said, "Go." The call never depended on perfection, it depended on obedience. That's why you can't escape destiny. You can hide for a while, but heaven always finds what it marked. There are moments when your reflection looks like a stranger, when you barely recognize the person in the mirror. Yet deep down, something tells you this season of confusion is not chaos, it's construction. The breaking, the shaking, the silence, all of it is shaping the soil where destiny will take root. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And maybe, right now, you feel like you have nothing left to give. But the truth is, what remains is exactly what God wants. He doesn't need your perfection, He desires your surrender, because once you surrender, the paradox transforms into power. The same heart that once trembled becomes the throne where His strength sits. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Read that again. Power, love, sound mind. You have what it takes to walk into what's waiting for you. The fear you feel is not from God. The exhaustion is not permanent. What feels like the end is the doorway to your awakening. Beloved chosen one, destiny does not ask for your permission. It demands your participation. You are not made to stay hidden in hesitation. You are part of a divine equation that cannot be solved without your obedience. The delay has already cost you enough time. Now, it's time to respond. It's time to. Don't let the weight of your own uncertainty keep you from rising. Heaven is already moving pieces behind the scenes, aligning favor, opening paths you haven't seen yet. The contradiction you feel between your weakness and your calling is not a mistake. It's proof that you are standing on sacred ground. If you were not called, you wouldn't feel the war inside. The battle between giving up and pressing on is not confusion, it's confirmation. Destiny doesn't chase the indifferent. It calls the ones who have been through storms, who still dare to believe there's something more. And you, yes, you are one of them. You are the storm survivor, the midnight prayer, the unfinished miracle. You are the one the enemy hoped would give up by now, but you didn't. You're still here, and that's enough for heaven to move. So hear this clearly. You don't have to be fearless to move forward, though you just have to move, because courage is not the absence of fear, it's obedience in the presence of it. Heaven has not overlooked you. Every tear has been counted. Every silent prayer has been heard. Every scar has been transformed into a seal of endurance. You're not at the end. You're at the beginning of the fulfillment. This is your divine contradiction, weak, yet chosen, tired, yet called, unsure, yet destined. And from this moment on, heaven is shifting things in your favor. If this word has reached your spirit, it's not by chance. It's because the time has come. The season of silence is ending, and the sound of your destiny is beginning. If you feel this truth stirring in you like something long asleep is waking, then let heaven see your response. Comment the number 777 below as a prophetic sign that you are ready to align with your destiny. Like, share, and subscribe to stay under this flow of divine revelation. And if this message has spoken to you deeply, you can also support by donating so that this light continues to reach those still searching for their purpose. You can't escape destiny. Chosen one, it has already begun. You've always known there was something different about you. Maybe you couldn't explain it. Maybe you tried to hide it. Maybe the world convinced you it was something to be ashamed of. But deep within, you've always felt it, the quiet knowing that you don't quite fit where others seem comfortable. That knowing isn't arrogance or confusion, it's identity trying to breathe. There are people who've looked at your difference and called it too much, too emotional, too intense, too spiritual, too kind, too focused. But the truth is, too much for the world often means just right for heaven. What they mocked was the very sign of heaven's fingerprint upon you. You were marked not to blend, but to blaze. You have walked through seasons where you thought your uniqueness was a flaw. You tried to shrink, to soften, to stay silent so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable around your light. But the more you hid, the heavier you became. Because the mark of the chosen never disappears, it just grows louder in the silence. The apostle reminds us in his first letter of Peter, chapter 2, verse 9. But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. Did you hear that? Chosen, royal, holy, possessed by God. Those are not titles of shame, they are declarations of purpose. To be set apart is not a punishment, it's a promotion. Heaven separated you not to isolate you, but to illuminate you. Every season of loneliness was divine preservation. Every time you felt unseen, you were actually being protected from imitation. You've been marked by heaven, not by accident, but by assignment. The enemy noticed it early, that divine glow that couldn't be dimmed, and that's why your attacks came early too. He tried to bury your identity under shame, insecurity, and self-doubt. But what God marks cannot be erased. You can try to run, blend, or deny it, but the mark stays. Let's talk about that mark, the traits that make you who you are. Those strange, inconvenient qualities that never quite fit the pattern. They are not mistakes. They are messages. Heaven speaks through what the world misunderstands. Your empathy is not weakness, it's divine sensitivity. Your discernment is not paranoia, it's prophetic sight. Your passion is not chaos, it's heavenly fire disguised as emotion. There comes a moment when every chosen one must stop apologizing for being different. The moment when you stop asking for permission to exist as who you are. You were never created to echo someone else's sound. You were meant to release your own. You are not broken, you are branded. You are not forgotten. You are framed for a divine unveiling. You are not strange. You are strategic. Heaven designed you with precision. Every quirk, every nuance, every uncommon thought, it all serves a divine function. So here is your act of obedience for this moment. Get quiet, take a deep breath, and write down 3 things that make you different, the traits you've been tempted to hide. Maybe it's your compassion that feels too heavy. Maybe it's your boldness that others misunderstood. Maybe it's your deep spiritual insight that made people distance themselves. Whatever they are, write them now. Then speak them aloud, not as apologies, but as declarations. This is my mark, not my mistake. Say it again until your voice stops trembling. Let heaven hear it. Let hell tremble because you've stopped hiding. When you stop despising your difference, you start walking in dominion. That's the key heaven has been waiting for. Because the anointing only flows through authenticity. The oil can't run over masks, it runs over the real. And the moment you accept your difference as divine, you unlock doors you didn't even know were waiting. You will begin to see why the crowd couldn't understand you, why relationships fell apart, why certain paths closed. It wasn't punishment, it was protection. God was preserving your distinction because blending in would have blurred your assignment. Every chosen vessel has this turning point when the rejection finally makes sense. When the pain begins to reveal its pattern. When the same thing that made you cry begins to make you powerful. This is that moment for you. Remember, this heaven never wastes pain. The part of you that suffered the most is the part that will shine the brightest. The place of your greatest insecurity will become the stage of your greatest influence. As you speak those 3 truths aloud, something shifts in the unseen. Chains that formed around your identity begin to crack. The voices that whispered not enough begin to fade. You realize that every difference heaven designed in you carries divine intention. The world calls it weird. Heaven calls it warfare. Because your difference is a threat to darkness. When you live boldly as who God made you, hell loses influence over those who've been taught to hide. So stop apologizing. Stop comparing. Stop shrinking. You were created to disrupt the ordinary. You were meant to walk into rooms and shift atmospheres just by being fully yourself. That's not pride. It's purpose. If you could see what your authenticity unlocks, you'd never hide again. There are people waiting for the sound of your yes. There are souls attached to your obedience. And until you embrace your divine design, they remain bound. Heaven has placed something rare inside you. Don't trade that rarity for acceptance. The world rewards imitation, but heaven crowns authenticity. You weren't chosen to be liked. You were chosen to be light. So, chosen one, write those 3 things. Speak them boldly. This is my mark, not my mistake. Then stand tall in that truth. Let your difference roar. Let your uniqueness echo. Let your calling breathe again. Because what was once your insecurity is now your insignia. And if this word stirs your spirit, let your obedience speak in the comments. Write your 3 differences. Declare them publicly. Be proud of your design. Then share this message, so others who've been hiding their light may find courage too. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Stay in this flow of revelation. You are marked by heaven, and that mark will never fade. There are nights when you question why it had to hurt so much. You look at your scars and wonder if heaven was silent or if it was shaping something unseen. You replay the rejection, the betrayal, the losses that carved deep into your heart. You remember the prayers that seemed unanswered, the moments you cried out only to hear nothing in return. But what if the silence wasn't abandonment? What if it was alignment? What if the pain was never punishment but preparation? You, chosen one, have carried weight that others couldn't even name. You've endured seasons that stripped you down to nothing but faith, and even that felt fragile. Yet here you are, still breathing, still standing, still searching for meaning. That's not coincidence, that's resilience. The very fact that you survived what was meant to destroy you is the evidence that your destiny has not expired. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 66, verse 10. For you, God, tested us. You refined us like silver. There it is, the refining. The fire that felt like it would consume you was actually perfecting you. You were never being burned down. You were being burned clean. Heaven never wastes a wound. Every tear has built a testimony. Every heartbreak has birthed humility. Every delay has deepened discernment. And even now, you might look around and say, I lost too much. But in truth, you only lost what couldn't go with you. The furnace doesn't destroy gold, it destroys everything that isn't gold. Every loss that felt cruel was a layer of impurity being removed from your purpose. You were being sculpted, not shattered. That's why some people left when they did. That's why doors closed when they seemed promising. God wasn't rejecting you, He was redirecting you, because if those things had stayed, they would have slowed your rise. Destiny requires pruning. The vine doesn't bear fruit without a cut. This is the part that hurts the most. The realization that not everyone who started with you can finish with you. The pruning feels like punishment until you see the fruit. So don't mourn what heaven removed. Don't cling to what's already been released. When something exits your life under divine timing, it's not loss, it's mercy. And mercy doesn't always look gentle. Sometimes mercy looks like collapse. Sometimes it looks like loneliness. Sometimes it looks like failure. But every time, it's love in disguise. The fire of refinement teaches you to stop asking, why me, and start asking, what is this shaping in me? Because there's always something being built in the background. Heaven's silence is never empty, it's strategic. Maybe right now, you're standing in that silence, feeling like you've given everything and gained nothing. But you don't see what's forming inside you, the endurance, the discernment, the authority. You are being shaped into someone who can carry the weight of destiny without breaking. The pain didn't come to kill you, it came to crown you. The refiner never takes his eyes off the silver while it's in the fire. He watches closely, waiting for one moment when he can see his reflection in it. That's when the fire ends. That's when the process is complete. And maybe that's exactly what God is doing with you. He's watching, shaping, purifying until He can see Himself in you. You're not forgotten in the fire. You're being found in it. And the truth is, once you've been refined, you never return to who you were. The things that once broke you now bow to you. The pain that once silenced you now strengthens your voice. That's why you can't escape destiny. It's being welded into you through the heat of hardship. So don't curse the fire. Thank it. Because it's revealing the gold that's been hidden inside you all along. You are not just surviving, you are transforming. And transformation is never painless, but it's always purposeful. There's something heaven wants you to do right now, a small act of agreement, a prophetic declaration. Go to the comments and type, I'm still here. Say it again, aloud if you can. I'm still here, not by luck, not by chance, but by divine preservation. Every attack that failed, every storm you outlasted, every tear that didn't break you, they all led to this declaration. You are still here because your purpose is still alive. When you type those words, don't just see it as a comment. See it as a covenant. You're telling heaven, I haven't given up on what you started. You're telling hell, I survived what was sent to silence me. You're reminding your own soul, I am not done yet. Each letter you type carries agreement. Each word is an act of defiance against everything that tried to erase you. You're declaring that no fire, no failure, no fear can steal what God sealed inside you. And here's the secret that few understand: the greatest anointing always follows the deepest breaking. Oil only flows when the olive is crushed. So if you've been through crushing, expect overflow. Heaven does not allow pain without purpose. Chosen one, you are walking out of the furnace with something pure, something holy, something indestructible. The fire didn't ruin you, it revealed you. And soon, even those who doubted you will see what the fire made you become. So lift your head. The same flames that once surrounded you are now the light that will guide others. You are no longer the wounded, you are the weapon. You are no longer the broken, you are the burning one. Type it once more, for your own soul to hear it: I'm still here. Let that truth settle in your spirit. Because from this moment forward, survival is no longer your story. Revival is. There are days when your heart feels like a battlefield. You wake up determined to trust, only to end the night exhausted from fighting the same invisible war inside your mind. You know you're chosen, yet sometimes it feels like you're chosen for struggle. You believe in the promise, but the process tests your every breath. This is the battle within the war between your faith and your fear, your purpose and your pain. You tell yourself you've already surrendered, but then something small shakes your peace, and suddenly your heart feels like a storm again. You say, I trust God, and yet worry keeps pacing through your thoughts. You say, I'm ready, but when heaven begins to move, part of you hesitates. That's the paradox of the chosen. The call is holy, but the flesh is human. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 41, watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. There it is, the truth that wraps every chosen one's journey. Your spirit is ready, but your humanity trembles. Yet God never asked for perfection, he asked for persistence. You don't lose because you feel weak. You lose only when you stop fighting. And this, beloved, is where heaven begins to teach you a deeper kind of strength, not the kind that roars, but the kind that endures, the kind that gets up again and again, even when the mind says, enough. This is not about winning battles quickly. It's about not surrendering the ground God gave you. Some days, victory will look like worship. Other days, it will look like tears that refuse to quit. Some days, your courage will feel loud and fiery. Other days, it will be nothing more than the whisper, God, I'm still here. Every time you choose faith over fear, you confuse hell. Every time you keep walking while wounded, you shake the kingdom of darkness. You may not realize it, but the very battles that wear you out are building something eternal inside you. Because you can't carry destiny without first conquering self. The greatest enemies are not outside of you, they live in the echo of your doubts, in the corners of your mind where fear still whispers. The enemy doesn't always come with weapons. Sometimes he comes with thoughts. You must learn to discern the difference between your voice and the voice of the deceiver. The one that calls you unworthy, forgotten, and alone. That's not heaven speaking. Heaven never condemns, it convicts. Conviction brings clarity. Condemnation brings confusion. So when you feel your peace slipping, pause. Take a breath and remember, this is not a punishment. It's a proving. Heaven is proving your endurance, shaping your faith, preparing your hands for the next assignment. The truth is, the deeper the battle within, the greater the breakthrough ahead. If you were not called to something mighty, the warfare wouldn't be this intense. You are not fighting random chaos, you're fighting resistance meant to keep you from your divine territory. And sometimes, chosen one, the war isn't meant to end quickly. Some battles are lifelong teachers. They don't come to destroy, they come to train. Because before God trusts you with power, He must teach you discipline. You will have moments where you feel as though you've lost ground. But in heaven's eyes, every time you rise again, you win. The power is not in avoiding weakness, it's in not letting weakness define you. The pain, the doubt, the confusion, all of it is the crucible where strength is forged. And when you feel like the fire is too hot, remember that the same God who allowed the heat controls the limit. He knows exactly how much you can take before He brings the cooling wind. There's a version of you waiting on the other side of this battle, the one who prays with authority, who speaks with fire, who no longer apologizes for their calling. That version is being shaped in this struggle. So don't despise the war within. It's not proof that you're failing, it's proof that you're transforming. You're not double-minded, you're in transition. Heaven is pulling you forward, even when your fears try to pull you back. And now, I want you to make a prophetic response, something that signals to heaven that you will not give up this fight. Go to the comments and type 888. Why 888? Because it represents new beginnings multiplied. It's heaven's number for resurrection, renewal, and divine overflow. When you comment that number, you're saying, I'm stepping out of the old patterns. I'm choosing faith over fear. I'm stepping into what's next. Don't type it out of habit. Type it with intention. Because every prophetic act you make in obedience releases movement in the unseen. When you declare 888, you're telling both heaven and hell that this war won't end with your defeat. It will end with your transformation. And here's what happens next once you decide that the battle within will no longer control you. Peace begins to settle in like armor. The same mind that once warred against you becomes your weapon. Your emotions start aligning with your assignment. Your fear becomes fuel for prayer. That's when you realize the truth. Your destiny was never waiting on external victory. It was waiting on internal surrender. The battle within was never about who wins, but about who you become. So breathe, chosen one. The fire inside you is not your enemy. It's proof that you're still alive, still called, still chosen. Heaven is not disappointed in your struggle, it's proud of your fight. The battle within is sacred. It is where your purpose grows roots. And every time you choose to stand in the middle of it, heaven takes notice. You are not losing, you are learning. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open. And when you finish reading this, type 8888 below as your prophetic declaration. Because this is not your ending. This is the moment the war inside turns into worship. You've heard the call more than once. It comes softly, like a whisper carried on the wind. And then sometimes loudly, like thunder shaking the foundation of your comfort. You try to ignore it, drown it out with noise, work, or routine, but it always finds a way back to you. Because destiny doesn't lose your address, no matter how far you run. You feel it in the quiet hours, when the world slows and your soul starts to stir, that deep ache that says, there's more. More than this job, this rhythm, this cycle of surviving. It's not discontent, it's divine dissonance. Heaven is calling you into alignment, and every time you resist, the tug grows stronger. You can't escape it because it's woven into who you are. You've probably asked, why won't this feeling go away? The answer is simple, because the call isn't a phase, it's your purpose trying to wake you up. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Elijah, chapter 18, verse 21. How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. There is a holy urgency in those words. Heaven is saying, choose. You can't keep standing in the middle, one foot in the world's comfort and one foot in divine calling. The time for hesitation is past. You were not meant to live half awake. You are not meant to chase temporary peace when eternal purpose is knocking at your door. Think of it this way. Destiny is like the tide. You can resist it for a while, but sooner or later the water rises around your feet. It will pull you toward purpose, even if it has to wash away what once kept you anchored in fear. Every chosen one reaches this crossroads, the moment where obedience costs comfort. You start to realize that the things you once prayed for are now the very things holding you back, and that realization hurts. But it's holy pain, because it's stretching your spirit beyond the borders of the familiar. You say, God, I'll follow you, but the next day you wake up and think, I'm not ready. That's the tension between surrender and self-preservation. But here's the truth: if you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait your whole life. Destiny never appears when it's convenient. It appears when it's time. This is that time. Heaven has been patient with you, letting you wrestle with the call. But now, the clock is moving differently. Doors are aligning. Signs are multiplying. Divine appointments are forming around you. This is not coincidence, it's orchestration. Heaven has already moved, it's waiting on your movement now. And maybe part of you worries that you'll lose everything if you say yes. But the only thing you'll lose is what was never meant to stay. God never takes without giving greater. Every yes you give him becomes a seed that multiplies beyond imagination. There's a garden in your life that only grows through surrender. But the soil of that garden is watered by trust. You can't harvest destiny while holding on to doubt. And now, I want to speak from my heart to yours, not as a voice echoing through a screen, but as someone walking this same narrow road of obedience. These messages, this space we've created together, are more than words, they're spiritual food, divine reminders to keep your soul aligned. If these words have watered your spirit, I invite you gently, sincerely to help keep this light shining. You can like this message so it reaches those who are still lost in the noise. You can share it so another weary soul remembers they're not forgotten. You can subscribe, not for numbers, but to stay connected to this stream of revelation. To walk this journey together as a community of awakening. And if your heart feels led, you can sow into this work through prayer, through generosity, through whatever gift heaven stirs in you. Every offering, big or small, becomes another flame added to this altar of light. It keeps the oil flowing so the message of purpose continues to reach those still standing in the dark corners of doubt. Think of it as tending the fire. When one person gives their light, the fire grows. When many gather, it becomes a blaze that darkness cannot contain. You are not just listening. You are part of this unfolding. Every action you take becomes a ripple in eternity. Every seed of support keeps the message alive for the next weary soul who needs to hear. You are chosen. Because this isn't about a platform, it's about purpose. It's not about profit, it's about people awakening to their divine design. So take this as both a reminder and a calling. Don't let this just be another message that fades after the scroll. Let it become a moment of response. Like it if it touched you. Share it if it mirrored your journey. Subscribe to stay within this circle of awakening. And if you feel led to give, then give with joy. Knowing it fuels something far bigger than both of us. It fuels destiny itself. Now, back to you, chosen one. The call you've been trying to silence, it's still there. Gentle yet relentless. Heaven hasn't changed its mind about you. You are still the one he called. still the one anointed, still the one heaven is waiting on. This tug in your chest, that's not anxiety, that's alignment, that's destiny knocking again. So breathe deep, stand tall, say yes again, even if your voice shakes. You don't have to know the whole path, you just have to take the next step. Because every step toward obedience is a step toward peace. And every act of surrender writes another line in the story heaven began before you were born. Destiny is called. This time answer. There's a story whispered through the ancient texts, a story of exhaustion, collapse, and divine recovery. The prophet Elijah, the same man who once called down fire from heaven, now sits under a broom tree trembling with despair. His courage had turned to dust. His strength had vanished. The roar of the crowd was gone, replaced by the echo of his own thoughts. And in that quiet wilderness, he whispered words that sound hauntingly familiar to the weary soul. It is enough. I can't do this anymore. Have you ever felt that way when victory fades into silence, when purpose feels too heavy to carry, when you've poured out so much that there's nothing left? Elijah wasn't faithless, he was empty. He wasn't rebelling, he was human. And that's where heaven met him. Not on the mountain, not in the temple, but under a tree of surrender. He lay there, broken and breathless, asking for an ending. But heaven refused his request. Instead, an angel appeared not with thunder or rebuke, but with bread and water. Simple, sacred sustenance. The angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." Elijah ate, rested, and when he rose, strength returned. The same man who wanted to die walked 40 days into divine renewal. That is the rhythm of restoration when all seems lost. Heaven whispers, "Get up." The word of God declares in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 7. The angel of the Lord came back a second time and touched him and said, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." Maybe that's where you are right now under your own broom tree. You've prayed, tried, believed, and still ended up at the edge of quitting. But listen closely. Chosen one. God has not abandoned you. You're not being punished. You're being repositioned. Failure does not mean finality. It means the first draft of greatness is being edited. Heaven has a strange way of turning breakdowns into breakthroughs. You thought you hit a wall. But what if it's a doorway, one that can only open when you finally stop running and rest in his timing? When Elijah stopped striving, heaven started speaking. And the same will happen for you. The wilderness is not your grave, it's your greenhouse. That place where nothing seems to grow is the very soil where God plants resilience. What looks like an ending is often a holy reset. You see, sometimes the greatest test isn't the battle on the mountain, but the silence under the tree. When the applause fades and no one sees your effort, will you still believe you're chosen? That's where purpose matures. Heaven's restoration often begins with small instructions. Eat, rest, rise. Before he gives Elijah a new assignment, he restores his strength. Before the next victory, he rebuilds the vessel. And maybe that's your season now, not of doing, but of healing. Heaven is not rushing you. Grace moves at a gentle pace. What you call delay, God calls recovery. So here is your practice of renewal. Chosen one. When failure or fatigue whispers, "You've lost," I want you to stop. Place your hand over your heart and say aloud, "I am not being punished. I am being positioned." Say it again, until your breath slows and your heart remembers that truth. Every closed door is redirection. Every broken piece is being rearranged into something stronger. You are not a mistake, you are in motion. Then, take one more step, write a small action plan, just one page, one note, One thought about how you can rebuild one area of your life that feels like it's collapsing. Don't overthink it. Start with what's in your control. Maybe it's setting a new routine. Maybe it's reconnecting with prayer. Maybe it's forgiving someone who's taken up too much space in your heart. Write it as an act of obedience, not perfection. Because small obedience becomes the foundation for great restoration. Heaven always multiplies motion. There's power in this practice. When you write that plan, you're saying, I refuse to stay under this tree. You're saying, I will rise, even if I rise trembling. That single act shifts the atmosphere around your life. Do you see it now? The same wilderness that once felt empty begins to echo with purpose. The silence that once felt cruel begins to carry a whisper of grace. Heaven never abandoned you, it was simply rebuilding you where no one else could see. When Elijah rose again, he wasn't the same man who collapsed under the tree. He carried new strength, new revelation, new authority. And you will too, because every breaking becomes a birthing. Every ending hides a beginning. Every tear waters a seed. So if this message finds you tired, take heart. This is not the end of your story. You are not being written out. You're being rewritten. When all seems lost, heaven sends bread and water. Sometimes that bread is a word like this, meant to remind you that you're still seen, still chosen, still in motion. Elijah thought the story was over, but God had mountains left for him to climb and kings left for him to anoint. And so do you. There are still promises waiting to be fulfilled through your hands. So breathe deep, wipe your face. Speak that truth again. I am not being punished. I am being positioned. Then take a pen, take a note, and plan your rebuild. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to begin. The same God who found Elijah under that tree will find you here. Not to scold, but to strengthen. Not to end your journey, but to ignite it again. Rise, chosen one. The angel has already left bread by your side. There comes a moment when the fog begins to lift slowly, silently. Like dawn creeping through the edges of a long night. You don't even realize it at first. The pain that once screamed begins to whisper. The confusion that once blurred every thought begins to loosen its grip. And there, in the soft unfolding of awareness, you start to see it, the hidden design behind every delay, every detour, every why that once haunted you. It doesn't happen with fireworks or sudden revelation. It's quieter than that. It's the kind of understanding that grows through time, like roots beneath the soil. It's the subtle shift in your heart that says, maybe that disappointment was protection. Maybe that silence was strategy. You begin to sense that the very path you cursed was guiding you closer to purpose all along. In the beginning, you thought you were losing time. You thought you missed your chance, your calling, your place. But now, looking back, you realize that nothing was wasted. The waiting was building wisdom. The loneliness was carving capacity. The setbacks were teaching surrender. What looked like delay was divine choreography. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 37, verse 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. That word ordered changes everything, because it means heaven has not forgotten the timing of your life. You are not behind schedule. You are not late. You are not running out of time. You are being aligned with time. Divine timing is not measured by your calendar, but by your readiness. And when your readiness meets God's timing, manifestation happens. Sometimes that's why doors stayed closed. It wasn't that you weren't worthy, it's that you weren't ready. You would have walked into rooms too small for your growth. You would have settled for relationships that couldn't hold your spirit. You would have chosen comfort over calling, but heaven was patient, holding your promise until you could carry it with maturity instead of desperation. Every chosen one walks through this season, the in-between, the place where you can't go back, but you can't see forward either. It's the wilderness between Egypt and Canaan, between promise spoken and promise fulfilled. And though it feels endless, it's sacred, because this is where clarity begins to take form. You start to see that destiny was never about the destination. It was about the transformation that happened on the way. The promise was never just about what you do. It was about who you'd become while waiting. When the fog lifts, you realize that heaven was never silent. It was speaking in symbols, in closed doors, in redirections. It was teaching you how to listen beyond the noise. It was showing you that divine answers rarely come as explanations, they come as peace. And that peace is different. It's not the kind that requires everything to make sense. It's the kind that whispers. Even if I don't understand, I still trust. That's when your soul begins to rest. That's when the ache starts to feel holy instead of hopeless. You begin to recognize that what you thought was abandonment was actually alignment. That what you called wasted time was God's mercy shielding you from premature exposure. You weren't being delayed, you were being developed. Every moment in the dark was a workshop for your light. You can almost see it now, the pattern, the threads of divine order weaving through the chaos of your past. It wasn't random. It was precise. Every wrong turn rerouted you back to the right one. Every heartbreak broke open a deeper compassion in you. Every failure birthed humility. Every silence sharpened your hearing. And then something deeper dawns, you realize you wouldn't trade it. Not the tears, not the questions, not even the pain. Because now, you see how necessary it all was. The path you resisted was the path that refined you. The process you cursed became the very thing that crowned you. There's a strange gratitude that fills your heart, not for what happened, but for what it made of you. You find yourself thanking God for doors that didn't open, for prayers that weren't answered, for people who walked away. Because now, from this vantage point, you see that each loss was a lesson. Each ending was a beginning in disguise. You no longer crave clarity, you crave closeness. You no longer beg for signs, you listen for whispers. You no longer chase destiny, you walk in rhythm with it. Because now, you understand that destiny isn't an event. It's a presence. It's the daily unfolding of divine intention through your ordinary obedience. The fog lifting doesn't mean the road will always be smooth, but it means you now know where to look when it gets dark again. You look inward where heaven's light never left. And that's the miracle of revelation. You don't receive something new, you recognize what was always there. God didn't suddenly show up, your vision finally cleared enough to see him. There's something sacred about this clarity. It doesn't make you louder, it makes you lighter. You stop striving and you start flowing. You stop demanding proof and you start walking by faith again. You stop carrying the weight of outcomes and you start trusting the hand that's been guiding you all along. So here you are, standing in the middle of your story, with new eyes. You understand now why it had to be this way. You can breathe again. You can rest again, because the revelation isn't that everything changed, it's that you did. And as you move forward, the same light that led you out of the fog will lead you into fulfillment. The vision is still alive, the promise is still unfolding. And the hand that held Elijah under the tree that fed you in your wilderness is still writing your next chapter with precision, with love, with perfect timing. There is a moment when saying yes finally costs you something. Not the easy yes that comes when the path looks smooth, but the trembling yes, the kind that feels like surrendering everything familiar. The moment you step into obedience, the air around you changes. You can feel it. Heaven leans closer, but so does resistance. It's as if the unseen world takes notice, whispering. They've decided. Because obedience is not theory, it's warfare. It's the sound of a heart breaking alignment with fear and stepping into faith. You thought the hardest part was hearing God's call, but now you realize the real test is living it. You begin to feel the cost. Friends who once walked with you fall silent. Opportunities you once thought were blessings now slip away. The comfort you once held becomes foreign, and your spirit whispers, "What's happening?" But what's happening is holy. Heaven is shifting your life from convenience to conviction. The Word of God declares in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 9, verse 23, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me." There's nothing decorative about that verse. It's not poetic, it's piercing. Because following Christ was never about comfort, it was about crucifixion. Not the end of life, but the end of self-rule. The cost of obedience is real. It asks for everything: your comfort, your plans, your pride, your timing. But what it gives back is far greater peace that doesn't depend on outcomes, identity that isn't shaken by storms, and purpose that outlasts pain. Every chosen one must face this crossroad. Will you continue walking by sight? Or will you trust the unseen hand that calls you deeper? Because the deeper you go, the less control you'll have, but the more clarity you'll gain. When you say yes to destiny, you won't always get applause. Sometimes you'll get silence. Sometimes you'll get misunderstanding. Sometimes you'll get spiritual warfare so fierce it makes you question your decision. But don't mistake resistance for rejection. Resistance is proof that what you're carrying matters. You are stepping into territory that darkness once claimed, and that's why it fights you so hard. Every time you obey, you reclaim ground. Every time you trust instead of fear, you shift the atmosphere around you. And here's what heaven wants you to know. Your yes is more powerful than you think. It moves angels. It disrupts generational cycle. It opens doors for people who will never even know your name. One act of obedience can alter entire destinies. Maybe right now, you're at that painful edge where obedience feels lonely, costly, uncertain. You've said yes, but everything around you looks like no. You've chosen faith, but you're walking through fog. You've surrendered, but nothing has changed yet. This is where heaven whispers, "Keep walking." Because obedience is not about instant results, it's about sustained trust. It's about following the voice, not the visible. It's about walking through fire with your eyes fixed on the one who controls the flame. And when you walk in that kind of faith, the unseen world trembles. Hell loses influence. Heaven gains ground. Your yes becomes a declaration that you belong entirely to God. You won't always feel strong in your obedience. Sometimes you'll obey through tears. Sometimes through doubt. Sometimes through trembling hands and an aching heart. But that's what makes it beautiful. It's not perfect obedience. It's surrendered obedience. And surrendered obedience is the sound heaven listens for. In those moments, when you question if it's worth it, remember this: every sacrifice will be redeemed. Every no you gave to the world will make room for a greater yes from heaven. Every door that's shut in your face was clearing space for the one that truly belongs to you. You may not see it now, but the reward for obedience always comes never early, never late, but right on divine time. It's not always money, or fame, or recognition. Sometimes it's peace that no one can steal. Sometimes it's wisdom that others can't understand. Sometimes it's simply knowing that you are walking in divine rhythm. And when that peace settles in, you'll realize you didn't lose anything. You traded temporary control for eternal purpose. You traded fear for faith and hesitation for destiny. But before you move on from this moment, I want you to do something powerful, something symbolic. Go to the comments and type "I choose obedience." Short, simple, but sacred. Because those 3 words are not just a phrase, they're a declaration. You're telling heaven, I choose purpose over comfort. You're telling your future, I will not miss what I was made for. You're telling fear, you no longer own me. When you type it, let it sink deep. Feel what you're saying. Let your fingers write what your soul believes. I choose obedience. This is more than an action, it's an altar. And altars always change atmospheres. They shift the invisible. They remind heaven that you are still in agreement. They remind hell that you are no longer available for distraction. Every "I choose obedience" written below becomes a seed planted in sacred soil. And seeds always grow even if they grow in silence. Because obedience is never wasted. It's the language of trust, the proof of faith, and the pathway to power. You may not see it today, but your obedience is building something eternal. Keep walking, even when it costs you. Keep believing, even when it hurts. Because one day soon, you'll look back and realize it was never loss. It was preparation. Every sacrifice was leading you to this, the moment your will aligned perfectly with heaven's. That's when destiny unfolds. That's when purpose breathes. That's when peace finally stays. So whisper it again to your heart, to heaven, to every part of your being. I choose obedience. You've walked through the breaking. You've endured the silence. You've learned the weight of obedience. And now something begins to stir quietly but undeniably. The light within you starts to stretch again. What once flickered like a candle in the wind now steadies, stronger, brighter, calmer. This is the rise of the chosen. It doesn't happen in a flash of glory or with the sound of trumpets. It happens in ordinary moments, when you speak gently instead of reacting harshly, when you choose forgiveness over bitterness, when you decide to stay faithful even when no one notices. The rise of the chosen is not about recognition. It's about radiance. It's about light moving through you so naturally that you forget it's even there. The prophet Isaiah spoke of this mystery in the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. That word arise is not a suggestion, it's a command. Heaven is saying, stand up, let your light be seen. Stop living as if you're still waiting for permission. The world is darker than ever, and your presence is needed. You may think your influence is small, but even a candle defeats the dark in its corner. Light never argues with darkness, it simply shines. It doesn't announce itself, it reveals what's hidden. And that's what you are called to do. You don't have to fight for attention, you don't have to prove your worth. You only have to live in alignment with the light within you. But here's the paradox: the purest light rarely seeks to be seen. It moves quietly, touching lives without demanding credit. Heaven values hidden obedience more than public recognition. That's why true rising often begins in secret. If you truly want to walk in divine authority, practice the kind of power that doesn't advertise itself. Practice the kind of goodness that doesn't need applause. Because when your heart serves in silence, heaven multiplies your impact in places your name will never reach. This is your practice for the next 10 days, a spiritual discipline that refines the soul and sharpens your light. Every day for 10 days, do one anonymous act of kindness. It doesn't have to be grand. It could be paying for someone's meal without telling them, leaving a note of encouragement where someone will find it, sending a quiet prayer for a stranger, cleaning a space no one thanks you for. Small things, but done with a pure heart. No one needs to know, no post, no proof, no recognition. Let it be your secret worship, an offering of light to a world desperate for warmth. Because the moment you choose kindness without credit, you practice divine power. You embody heaven's rhythm. Say it softly to yourself, this is how I rise. Because rising is not about standing taller, it's about bending lower. It's about serving deeper. It's about letting love lead when ego wants to be seen. You rise higher by going lower in humility. And as you begin this quiet practice, you'll notice something changing in your atmosphere. Peace begins to linger longer. Gratitude starts to bloom in places that used to feel empty. You'll sense a joy that doesn't depend on anyone's validation. That's the secret of the chosen. They draw strength not from applause, but from assignment. You'll find that doing good in silence reorders your soul. It untangles pride. It dismantles the need to be understood. It reminds you that heaven sees what people overlook. There's something holy about unseen acts. It's where heaven hides its greatest treasures, in the spaces no one celebrates. Every hidden act of kindness becomes a spark that heaven gathers and turns into light for others. You may never see the full ripple of your kindness, but you can be sure it echoes in eternity. In a world that rewards loudness, you will walk differently. While others chase fame, you'll chase purpose. While others compete for spotlight, you'll choose sacred shadows, because you know that the one who called you sees in secret and rewards in light. The rise of the chosen is not about becoming known, it's about becoming whole. And wholeness comes from living aligned with heaven's rhythm, to give, to serve, to love, without needing anything in return. You'll start to feel what Elijah felt after his renewal, what David felt after his wilderness, what Mary felt when she said yes in silence, peace so deep it no longer demands explanation. That's when you realize rising isn't climbing higher, it's shining brighter. You don't escape the darkness, you transform it. Your life becomes a lamp that others can find hope by. And though your name may never be written in history, it will be written in hearts. People may not know who brought light into their day, but heaven will. 10 days, 10 quiet offerings, 10 small revolutions against a world of noise. Let this be your altar of anonymity, your practice of presence, your silent revolution of light. Because sometimes the loudest worship is the one no one hears. When the 10th day comes, you'll notice something powerful. You will feel lighter. Not because life got easier, but because you stopped needing credit for your light to matter. You will realize that to rise is not to be seen, it's to be felt. And when that happens, you'll finally understand what it means to live as the chosen vessels of unseen glory, carriers of a love that needs no stage. So take this word and put it into motion. Let heaven recognize your kindness. Let your light move quietly through the world like a song without words. Then, as a declaration of your intention, go to the comments and type silent light. Short, simple, but prophetic. Because when you write silent light, you're saying, I will not wait for recognition to shine. You're saying, I will be light, even when no one's watching. You're saying, I rise by serving. Let that be your covenant with heaven, the vow of those who carry light not for applause, but for purpose. For the next 10 days, practice your power in silence. Watch what happens inside you, because when light learns to move quietly, it becomes unstoppable. You've come so far, chosen one. The fire that once nearly consumed you has now become your warmth. The breaking that once terrified you has become your foundation, and the light that once flickered inside you now burns steady, guiding not just you, but everyone who crosses your path. This is the season of fulfillment, the The season where what was whispered finally begins to unfold in front of your eyes. You no longer chase destiny, you walk with it. You no longer plead for direction, you carry it in your spirit. Heaven has turned your tears into oil, and now your steps leave traces of glory wherever you go. But this fulfillment, it doesn't come with fireworks or fame. It comes quietly, like a sunrise after a storm. One morning you wake up, and peace no longer feels foreign. Purpose no longer feels like pressure. The same life that once felt heavy now feels holy. The Apostle Paul declared in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7, "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith." That's the sound of completion, not perfection, but perseverance. You fought the same kind of fight. Maybe not on a battlefield with swords and shields, but in the secret places of your heart where doubt tried to suffocate destiny. And you refused to bow. You finished a race others didn't even know you were running. You've carried burdens no one could see, prayed prayers no one heard, endured storms that would have drowned those without your strength. But you kept the faith. And because of that, heaven has prepared your crown not of gold but of glory. Now, in this sacred moment, I want to speak to the part of you that's still unsure, the part that says, "I'm not enough to make a difference." Listen closely, you are the difference. The world doesn't need louder voices, it needs brighter ones. It doesn't need more followers, it needs more flames. And you, chosen one, are that flame. Your words can heal. Your kindness can shift atmospheres. Your prayers can reroute destinies. Every simple act of faith you take every time you choose love over bitterness, patience over pride, truth over comfort, you release light that ripples beyond your sight. Think of it like planting stars in the dark. You might never see where they shine, but heaven charts everyone. And now, as this journey of revelation reaches its fullness, I want to speak not just about destiny, but about community. Because light was never meant to burn alone. Flames multiply when they touch. Your story, your strength, your faith, they're part of something far greater than a single voice. When you like this message, you're not just clicking a button, you're adding oil to the lamp. You're saying, yes, let this light travel farther. When you share it, you're throwing a lifeline to someone standing in their own storm, someone who needs to hear. You can still rise. When you subscribe, you're not signing up for content, you're stepping into a circle of awakening, a tribe of those who choose to live by light. Together, we build something stronger than algorithms, a fellowship of the chosen, walking in purpose and power. And if this message has poured into your spirit, if it has spoken to the quiet corners of your heart, I invite you gently, sincerely to help keep this flame alive. You can give, sow, or donate whatever word your heart prefers. Every offering, big or small, is another spark that ensures this message continues to reach those who are still lost in the dark. Think of it as tending a sacred fire. Every ember needs breath to keep glowing. Every flame needs fuel to keep reaching. Your kindness becomes that fuel. Your generosity becomes that breath. What we are building together isn't about one voice, it's about thousands of lights across the world, choosing faith over fear, obedience over comfort, purpose over convenience. When you give, you're not just supporting a message, you're building a movement. You're helping keep the lamp burning for the next weary soul who needs to remember that they, too, are chosen. You've come this far because you didn't give up. You've endured the refining, embraced the silence, chosen obedience, and risen in quiet light. This moment right now is your reflection point. Look back with gratitude. Look around with peace. And look ahead with holy fire. And before this chapter closes, leave your own mark of agreement. Go to the comments and write something simple. something that declares your victory. Write, "I made it." Because you did. You made it through what tried to break you. You made it through fear, doubt, and disappointment. You made it through nights when your prayers were tears. And because you made it, you carry the power to help someone else make it too. Let that be your legacy, not just survival, but revival. Not just existing, but igniting. So if this word touched you, if it awakened something, healed something, reminded you of who you are, then do something with it. Like it, so the message keeps moving. Share it, so someone else finds hope. Subscribe, so you never lose the rhythm of revelation. And if you can, sow a seed to keep this fire burning bright, because every light you help kindle becomes another miracle in motion. Destiny isn't a finish line, it's a continuation. What heaven began in you is still unfolding, and the glow of your obedience will keep spreading long after this moment ends. You've fought the good fight. You've kept the faith. And now, you walk crowned not in pride, but in peace. The light you carry is not fragile anymore. It's eternal. Keep it burning. Chosen one. The world needs what you carry. And now, the page turns, but not to an ending. There are no endings for the chosen, only beginnings disguised as silence. This isn't goodbye, it's the breath between one revelation and the next. You've walked through the valley, felt the fire, carried the light, and learned that even in darkness, heaven still writes. What happens after this moment is sacred, because it's not about what you've heard, it's about what you'll do with what you've heard. Take what spoke to your spirit and hold it close. Let it settle. Let it grow roots. Let it shape how you see the world tomorrow morning when the sun rises again. The words that linger are the ones meant for you. Everything else can fade like smoke, but what stays stays because heaven planted it there. And if this message met you where you needed it most, if it reminded you that you are seen, chosen, and still becoming, then share it, not to promote, but to pass the flame. Somewhere, someone is standing on the edge of surrender, waiting for a whisper of hope. Maybe that whisper flows through you. But if you choose not to share, that's all right too. Keep what touched you. Let it be your private altar, your quiet conversation with God. Not everything sacred needs an audience. Sometimes the holiest transformations happen in secret, where only heaven watches. Wherever you go from here, remember this destiny doesn't end, it unfolds. The story continues through your steps, your words, your kindness. And though this message closes, your journey does not. Carry the light, chosen one. The world is still listening for the sound of your yes.